edition, I see there's a couple of companies that's all they do is vibration analysis. Yeah. So having that dimension in our setup, I think, might be helpful. We'll see. They're impressive. They grow their own crystals. They're totally vertically integrated. So
grow their own crystals for their sensors.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, and they have piezoelectric, right? You know, it's I don't understand it enough to give you a good explanation, but as I understand piezoelectric, when there's pressure on this device, it sends out a microcurrent, and that's how the sensor works. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's really amazing.
Well, you know, you think about a lot of diagnosis can come from harmonic vibrations. You know,
oh, yeah. Well, you know, it's like you said, you know, if we do put the sensor on the unit, wind's blowing like hell. How's that going to filter out that wind, right? So the
panels are going to create a frequency with air going over because there's not going to be anything to dampen them, and they'll start vibrating.
These guys have a sound lab that blow you away. It's one of those labs, you know, where you can't hear yourself talk.
Yeah.
Room.
It just goes dead.
Yeah, and they have all the sensors in there. And what was cool is they have an actual profile for every kind of sound, right? So they know what it's doing, and they know what's making it. So I think we might be able to come out with a filter, because really, what are we going to be looking for? We're going to be looking for compressor. We're going to be looking for fan. And then we're going to look almost for hammering inside the refrigerant, right? You're going to want to hear what it's doing. So that'd be interesting to see. I was thinking on rooftop unit, it might be a nice thing.
Oh yeah.
Because when it's all in one, you know, you don't take the trip on a split.
Yeah.
I think we can start, Doctor.
So, you know, let's get started. I'm sure, you know, they're going to trickle in. Like I said, this is a basic startup what we're doing today.
Yep.
From unboxing your kit and getting it set up properly and make sure that you're doing everything the right way before you get it out on the job. So,
all right.
You know, thank you all for listening up to my little spiel this morning. But
so I'm going to let you go, everybody. I'm going to.
You answer chat, Bill.
I'm going to answer chat. I'll close my window here, and I'll let you go, Eric.
All right. Here we go. So starting off, when you get the kit, you're going to have several boxes in your kit. You'll have your temperature probes. You'll have your iConnect box and everything else. When you open up your iConnect, you'll see a couple of pieces of paper that come in the box as well. And one of these papers here is your warranty registration. Now, please, guys, when you get these, go ahead and go online, follow the directions on that. Go ahead and register your piece of equipment. If you do have an issue with any warranty, it helps us out considerably. We can see who's the owner, you know, just to make sure. Also, you know, track it to say, okay, well, you're not the registered owner. Did you just buy this thing? You know, might even help out if somebody stole your equipment and they're calling up on how to use it or something like that. You never know. It's just great to track that, protects your piece of equipment. Also, in the kit, you're going to see this quick start guide. Now, I know, you know, hey, I'm a man. I don't like to read directions, but if I don't know it, I'm going to read those directions. So this will help you out as well. We're going to go through most of this, but go ahead and keep this on hand, reference it, take a look at it, and also make sure to watch some videos on off of our website. They'll help you out. So let's go ahead and get started with the iConnect. When you get this little box out of the box itself, you're going to take the back off of it and expose your battery compartment. Now, the iConnect itself runs off of 6 AA batteries. So we're going to go ahead and put the batteries in here. Now, noticing when you take the back off of this, you're going to see a little warning label here, and that warning label just says, put your batteries in correctly. The negatives are going to go on the springs. It's just like, you know, putting together the kids' toys over at Christmas time. So let's just make sure that we put our batteries in with the correct polarity so we don't have any issues. So I'm putting in my batteries right now. If you notice up at the top of your iConnect, when you take it out and you take the back of the box, the cover off, right up in here, there's a little bar. That little bar is going to fit into the slot, but also in your kit, you're going to have your belt clip. So this bar will simply slide into your belt clip, face it upwards. This bar is going to slip in just like so. Go ahead and lay it down, take your battery cover. As you notice on your battery cover, you will have a serial number. We're going to be using that here in just a second when we pair it up to the your device. So putting the cover back on. Now, mind you, the screws on the back of this cover, you'll see that there are some brass inserts that are inside the iConnect itself. Once your screws snug up, that's all you need to do. They don't need to be wrenched in hard at all. The way that brass will kind of snug up on the metal, there's no need to wrench it down hard and possibly break anything. So when it's all said and done, it'll look just like that. Your belt clip along the back here, so that then you can go ahead and attach that to your belt or the edge of your pocket, and your iConnect's ready to go. Actually, I forgot one thing. Also in the box, you're going to see this little foam plug. There's little cuts in it to take pieces out. Now, if you have an iManifold, this is going to go in. You're going to take these little plugs out, and these are stability for your wired sensors that go into the back of it. We're not putting any sensors in on the iConnect itself, so we're going to take this plug and we're going to go ahead and plug it in here, right here to the back. This little blank space here. This plug's going to fit in right here. And what that's going to do, it's going to help in a little bit of water resistancy. Just put that in there. Don't take any of them out, and you're set to go. Nothing gets plugged into this, by the way. There's no temperature plugs put in, so covering this up, you'll be fine. Now, unboxing the rest of your probes. Depending upon what kit you got, you're going to have your temperature with humidity probes. There's a front of your probe, your power button, and your pairing button. On the back side, this is going to be your battery cover here. So you're going to have two of those. Depending upon your kit, you could have a temperature repeater. This adds another radio into your network to make your network a lot stronger. On the sides of this here, as you can see, every one of our probes has two inputs for extra temperatures that you simply plug into the sides. Your pressure probes. When you unbox your pressure probes here, you're going to notice that in the box, you can have your connection hose, and you'll also have an access valve to manage refrigerant, add or subtract them. The way to put these on first, attach your access valve to the tip. Have it just like that. And then attach your hose. System should look just like that. Now, prior to doing that, on these access valves, when they come in the box, you can open up the top here, and there'll be a Schrader core in here. You're going to take that Schrader core out of the top, and you're going to put it into the side tab. Slide it into the side tab, use a Schrader core remover and installer. Get that in, snug, give it a half turn, and then you can go ahead and put your cap on there. Now you're set for flow through here. Everything just flows directly through. You have your access valve here with a Schrader cord. You can go ahead and apply this right here. So you have your hose and your access valve set. Now go ahead and attach your probe. So now you've got your high side and your low side with access valves and your jump hoses installed. Now for temperature, we're going to have to take suction line temperature, liquid line temperature. To take those temperatures, we're going to be plugging these things actually into the probe itself. Okay. So on the side of the probe, as you may notice, if you turn it sideways here, you'll see a micro USB port on the side of each one of the probes. That little micro USB port is simply for powering the probe over long periods of time. And there's also one on the back of your iConnect as well. That is not for doing any software. It will not charge your batteries, okay? That's simply for powering over a long period of time, just in case you run into a situation where we're data logging. That's a feature that we've got upcoming. That way you can leave these things out, put them on a system for several hours and not have to compromise your batteries. When you flip it over to the other side here, you'll notice that there's two temperature ports, just like I showed you on the other probes here. T1 is one closest to the tip of your probe. T2 is one just behind it. So right now, to get us set up, we're going to go ahead and plug a temperature into T1. Now your system comes with these strap probes here. The way these strap probes operate, you can see this, there's a little V cut up on the top here. It simply goes onto the piping, come around, and pull them tight. Once they get pulled tight, they're on. Very simple to release. Just pick up on it, and it comes right off. So these are going to be plugged into the side of the probe here. This is my high side liquid line temperature in T1. Now these are mapped automatically, so when you plug this in, it's going to show up as your liquid line temperature. On your low side probe, same thing, micro USB, and we have the two temperature ports here. T1 is mapped automatically to suction line temperature. We're going to plug that in. And we've got our low side with our suction line temperature probe plugged in. Now for you guys that are taking discharge line temperature, depending upon the kit, and if you choose to do so, there's an accessory clamp probe here. The clamp is pretty easy to get into some spaces where you actually have to reach in to get your discharge line temperature. Now, the thermistor that is on this clamp probe is exactly the same thermistor that we're using on the strap probes. It just has a clamp around it. So discharge line temperature can easily be taken right here on our high side probe. T1 is going to be our liquid line as we plugged it in. Now, if you want to take discharge line temperature, you go into T2, snap that in. And here in just a second, when we fire up our app, we'll show you how that goes into play. Now, also in your kit, you're going to have a small 4-inch thermistor here, and this is for your air temperature. Now, we also offer a 12-foot. Same thing, thermistor tip, but you got a 12-foot cord. That will help you out in situations. I live here in Arizona, and depending upon the day, if you go up on a rooftop or even on the side of a house, condenser on the side, you're doing a refrigeration job, the dog houses are up on the roof and whatnot, you want to get that thermistor in air temperature. You don't want it to have any reflected heat bearing upon it, any ground heat, having this thing laying on the ground or anything else. So you want to get it in a place where you're getting ambient air temperature. So under a lot of circumstances, what you can do is use this actually on your low side probe. On T2 of your low side, I personally use this on my repeater probe. Like I said, you've got two temperatures that you can map out here. and we'll just use this on our repeater probe and go ahead and plug them in here. We're going to get this system all set up to go. So now with all your probes set up, by the way, the probes themselves, they come with 2 AAA batteries in them already, so they're ready to go right out of the box. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and pair all these probes up to our iConnect. But first we need to get our iConnect paired into our device here. Now, if you're using an Apple device, iOS, when you turn your system on, you're going to upload the application's loaded. I'm going to share my screen with you right now so you can take a look at what I'm seeing here. Now, Bill, can you verify that you can see my my app screen here?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So I just see your home screen. I don't see your app yet, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're going to do now.
I want to learn about that app, Shuffle Cats.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's a highly addictive game that you play when you're really, really bored. Right before you go to bed. For those being addictive games.
Not during the workday, right?
No, I've got no time to do that. It's sniper shooter, same thing. See?
Yeah, I was going to say it's the same.
But okay, so now we've uploaded the application. Like I said, on iOS devices, when you open up the application and you power up your iManifold or iConnect, it's going to pair up to it automatically. On the Android devices, it's an extra step. It makes it nice to identify everything that you've got going, though. So when you upload the application, you'll have a shortcut on your device. So right now, what we're going to have to do is we're going to open up our Bluetooth to make sure that we can identify what's going on with our system here. So on my iManifold or iConnect, I'm going to power it on. And you'll see a sequence of lights that'll pull up. Your power light will come up, and then your status light will be flashing. But we need to pair this to our device. So pairing it up to the device, there's 2 buttons up here. One is your power, and one's your Bluetooth. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tap our Bluetooth. And as you can see, when we tap our Bluetooth, our 2 Bluetooth lights start flashing in unison. On our app screen here, we're going to go ahead and drop down and take a look at our Bluetooth. Turn on our Bluetooth. And we'll see available devices. And as you can see, you see this available device on my screen here. I am iConnect A20608. That A20608 is our serial number that's on the back. So just make sure that your serial number matches up. Everything's good. Take a look. Make sure that your lights are flashing. And then on your device, you're going to go ahead and tap that A20608. And as you can see, it's pairing. System's paired up. Everything's good. We're going to say that we're done. Now, we're going to open up our iManifold application. The welcome screen will come up, and then you'll see your gauge set there. On the gauge set here, you've got 2 menus. You've got your upper left-hand corner, which is your bar menu, or burger menu, as you want to call it, and your gear menu. So on the side over here with our settings and everything and our device menu here, we're going to open that up. And our first tab here is Connect to iManifold. You've got Tech Connect, Account, Tools, Storage, Settings, and all kinds of help here. Right now, we're going to connect to the iManifold, or iConnect, either way. And as you can see, I've got different ones on here. This is where you can identify which one you're hooking into. So if you do have multiple devices, it'll give you a menu as to which one to select to connect to. So as we had earlier, A20608, this is the one that we just paired up. Tap to it, and we're connected. Come on, screen, catch up. There we go. So as you can see, it'll show that you're connected. You can disconnect from it. There's also your sampling rates here. High, medium, and low. Now, the sampling rate of medium is a default, and that is probably your best setting that you can use. You don't want to go too high. You don't want to go too low. Set it right. Just leave it alone in the medium setting, and you'll be fine with it. Hold on 1 second here. Oops.
You know, just as an aside, I was at an OEM manufacturer last week, and they're using our technology to profile their production unit. So they wanted that high sample rate because they wanted to catch that fidelity of how that unit is working as it relates to say, okay, we just built it. Here's the profile. It goes up to the cloud. And now that's going to be the data for that specific serial number. So that was an example. You would use a higher refresh rate, but
yeah,
most of the time it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we're connected, it'll show us our battery life. Shows that we're connected to our iManifold or iConnect with our battery life here. If you want to disconnect, you can use this tab to disconnect. I set our sampling rate here, high, medium, and low. We'll leave it at medium. Our configuration here. Now, once this is set up, you open it up, we're going to go ahead and go into configuration. Now, from the factory, there's a default here of the auto shutdown of 5 minutes. So if there's no activity, this is going to shut down your iConnect. After 5 minutes of inactivity, you're not messing with anything, readings coming in, what have you. Now, if it shuts off after that 5 minutes, the probes, if they don't get any activity within 10 minutes, the probes are going to shut down as well. So I've had a few phone calls before where a guy says, I'm not getting readings, this and that. He left his auto shutdown at 5 minutes, walked away, he's reading something, whatever, and his system shuts down. Well, it was a simple thing that his auto shutdown cut him off. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to adjust that number here. The auto shutdown and the battery type. As you can see, we've got 5 minutes in standard on the battery type. We can use the, say these Panasonic rechargeable AA batteries. Great idea to use them. Sure does cut down on the cost of batteries all the time. But when you do use those, make sure that you edit your battery type. Those batteries discharge at a different rate, so we need to change the battery type to help make those batteries last as long as possible. So in changing this, we can go to our edit button here. Our auto shutdown time from 5 minutes, I give it 30 minutes. So we just come down to 30 minutes here, select it. Our battery type standard, like I said, if you have rechargeables, you can always put it to rechargeable if you like. We're going to leave ours on standard. Once you make your selections, come down and hit submit. Now, when you come into my classes here, these webinars, always accentuate about submit. Submit, that button's your best friend. As far as iManifold and iConnect. When you go into changing the menu item, if you're putting in information, make sure you hit that submit button. If you don't hit that submit button, you hit back on your phone or back on your pad or something like that, that information will not get submitted. So as far as the back on your tablet or on your phone and everything, don't use it. Just make it that button's not even there, okay? Because you can get to wherever you need to do on your menu here on your screen. Just like here, if we're going to go ahead and get out of this right now, instead of hitting back, we're going to go up here to iManifold, and it's going to bring us right back into our iManifold. So your manifold information here, it's going to give you your model number, your serial number, your firmware. Now, your firmware that your kits have, you all should be on 1.2.0.0. If not, it's going to tell you right here in the middle of the screen that the firmware update is available and needs to be done. That's when you're going to go ahead and follow the prompts and go ahead and update your firmware there. It's all right through your application. You don't have to plug anything in. Just make sure that your system will not time out. On Apple, it takes about an hour. It's 55 minutes. So set your screen not to shut off. If by chance you do need to do an update, if not, you should be fine. If you guys are just using new equipment, you're up to date already. Here's your hardware version of C, Bluetooth, all of your other information in here, and you can also power off your iManifold or iConnect from here. So at this point, we're done on this page. So we're going to go back into our iManifold, iConnect, and now we're going to go ahead and pair up our probes so that we're going to get all these readings here, our pressures and our temperatures to get our superheat and our subcooling and whatnot. So we're going to go in and get into our gear menu. Come down to the tab of wireless probes. We're going to open up wireless probes here. And as you can see, no wireless probes are currently part of this network. Tap anywhere to add wireless probes to this network. Follow further instructions on the next screen. We can tap on the anywhere on the screen, or up here in the right-hand corner, there's also add. So get prepared for pairing up your probes. I'm going to start with my my high side probe. The two buttons here, your top button is going to be your power. Your bottom button here is your transmit to pair the probes up. So we're going to turn this button on here. And as you can see, you've got a status light that's flashing. And you'll see that it's 2 flashes and a pause. 2 flashes and a pause. That means you're in pairing mode. Now, when we go ahead and tap the screen here, the screen says we're looking for probes here. As you can see, it gives you a good visual here about the flashing of the status light. Make sure the indicator's flashing is shown, flash, flash, pause. That is in pairing mode. And what we're going to do, just as it says, press and release the wireless button continuously until success appears on the screen. Well, it's not hold it and just keep pushing this thing down. It normally requires 1 or 2 taps, and that's it. So from this point, this little button here, I'm going to tap and release, and see that probe was added successfully. Do you want to add another? We're going to add more until we're done with all of them. So now we're looking for another probe. So I'm going to go to my low side probe here, turn it on. We're in the flash, flash, pause mode. We're going to go ahead and tap our wireless button here. Probe was added successfully. Now, as you can see on the status light, when the probe gets picked up, it starts flashing continuously. So you can see when this is actually transmitting and it's all paired up to your system. So we're going to add some more probes here. Next one I'm going to add is my repeater probe. If you don't have a repeater, don't worry about it. We're all set with that. Now my air probes. Flash, flash, pause. See, that one took 2 button pushes. So don't get hasty in a hurry. That's not pairing up. If after a few button pushes it doesn't, you can simply hold that wireless button down and it'll go back into pairing mode. Because every now and then, if you switch between kits, you lend out your probes or something like that, you want to remove them out of yours, get them to somebody else who needs a probe right then and there, it might take 2 times to do it. Okay, so don't worry about that if it doesn't pair up right that very second. So now we're going to add more. Our final probe here. And we're all set. So now we have all of our probes. We've got our 2, our high and our low pressure. We've got our repeater probe. and we've got 2 air probes into our system. So now I'm going to tap done, and we're going to see all of our probes here. Now, as you can see on your screen, you'll see these green dots going down the side here. Well, those green dots, they'll flash back and forth between yellow. You'll see them hit yellow every now and then. That is simply saying that they are transmitting, okay? It's very normal. When they stay a solid yellow or they turn red, that's when you've lost your signal. That's where it comes in handy if you have a repeater here. Keep that in your back pocket. You start losing any type of signal, you throw that into your network and it picks it up and extends your range out considerably. But everybody who's here more than likely has our long range setups, so you probably won't even be needing to use it. I use it just for my outdoor air temperature that I've set. So as you can see, you've got your status light here, and you also have your battery. That's how much battery life you have left in those probes. Now, each one of these probes can be opened up by simply tapping on any of these, any of your probe lines here. And this is where we're going to map all of our, make sure that all of our temperatures are mapped properly, that we're getting the right temperatures and it's going in the right places. Very simple. First, we'll go to our high pressure. Now, remember on our high pressure, on our T1, we did our liquid line temperature, and T2 was our discharge line temperature. Now, liquid line temperature is going to be automatically mapped. We're going to show a T2 here. So I'm going to open up that probe. And as you can see, our liquid line temperature is present. What we plugged in for discharge line temperature is showing as T2. To get this to show discharge line temperature, it's simply pushing the value here, pushing that 74.7, opening that up, and we have a mapping. We've got suction line temp, discharge line temp, outdoor air temperature, return air dry bulb, supply air dry bulb. Well, what we're using this one for is discharge line temperature. I'm going to go ahead and tap discharge line temperature, DLT, and as you can see, it shows up on my map here as DLT now. So we have our high side mapped out. We can tap this again and shut it down, and now we're going to open up our low pressure side. So our low pressure, we've got no pressure shown, and our suction line temperature is present. Okay, we'll close that one. Now, remember what I did here with my temperature, our outdoor air temperature with my repeater. So probe number 3 here is my repeater and temperature. I'm going to open that up. As you can see, I have a temperature value here. I have a temperature value here. Nothing here in T2. We don't have anything listed in T2. But this T1 that I'm on here, I'm using this for my outdoor air temperature, so I need to map this. Once again, I simply tap the temperature, the 73.8. Look here, suction line temperature, liquid line temperature, discharge line temperature, outdoor air temperature. I tap ODA, outdoor air, and we're mapped up and ready to go with this. So I'm going to close this off. Now you have 2 probes here that are exactly the same, which are your air temperature probes. Okay? One's going to be supply, one's going to be return. So to find these, as you can see, our status lights are flashing. I'm going to go to probe number 4 because I'm going to designate my probe number 4 as my supply air temperature. Okay? So I'm going to find out which one is which here. When you open the probe up, you'll get your temperature, your relative humidity, and over here on the side, grab my cursor here, right here on the side, you've got a gear menu that'll give you options on the probe. So we're going to open this up, and as you can see, we can remove the probe, which will take it out of your network. Start the probe. If it's been sitting idle for a while, you can hit start and it'll refresh it. Wink it, which is what I'm going to do right now to identify the probe, or map the dry bulb relative humidity. So right now what we're going to do is wink this probe. When I tap link, one of the probes, these status lights here, one of them's going to flash really fast, and it's going to identify that probe. So I wink it. As you can see right here, this probe's flashing really fast. I'm going to take this probe off, and I can mark this probe with a piece of tape. I don't have any blue or red tape on. Gosh darn it. What I like to do is on my probe, if it's my supplier, which is what I'm going to use this for, is I'm going to put a piece of blue tape around it and a piece of red tape on the other. That way I can identify which is which. So now that I know that this probe here is one I'm setting up for supplier, as you can see, it's already set up for return air. We've got REDB, return air dry bulb, return air relative humidity. Well, I want to change that. So I'm going to go ahead and tap that temperature. As you can see, we're set up for return air. I'm going to turn it into supply air. Now I've got my supplier dry bulb with my relative humidity. Now I'm going to go to probe number 5, open that up, and right now we're simply getting a dry bulb and a relative humidity measurement right now. So I'm going to go ahead and map that to my return air. Now we've got all of our probes mapped up and set up, so we're ready to use the system now. So now everything, after everything's all mapped up, we can go up into our upper left-hand corner and open up our iManifold here. As you can see at the bottom of my screen here, my active temperatures. My suction line temperature is present, my liquid line temperature, discharge line temperature, and my outdoor air temperature. Everything's shown on the screen. My pressures, I understand they're zeroed out. We're not hooked up to a system right now or anything. So our superheat and our subcooling are displayed. Our saturation temperatures are showing. Now I know it's showing 136 degrees superheat right now because when the system's even blanked out on pressure, it's still going to try and read it. Across the bottom here, these arrows, you can scroll back and forth to get different values here. Wired temperatures. Now, if you're using iManifold, the temperatures that we plugged into the back on the sides of the probes are what you're going to be plugging into the back of your manifold, T1 through T4. Now, right out of the package, they're mapped out. T1 is suction line temperature, T2 is liquid line temperature, T3 is discharge line temperature, and T4 is mapped out automatically as outdoor air temperature. Now, those positions can be mapped out differently, the same way what we just did right now. So, wired temperatures, when you're using iConnect, are going to be blank. Active temperatures are what you're looking for. All of our active temperatures are present. Now, probe number 5, return air dry bulb with relative humidity. This will go through the probes here. Probe number 4 is supply air. Probe number 3 was our repeater and temperature with our outdoor air temperature present. Probe number 2 is suction line. Our low pressure with our suction line temperature. Probe number 1 was our head pressure, high pressure with our liquid line temperature and our discharge line temperature present. Performance. When you're scrolling across here, your performance, once we put in the profile and everything, we're going to do a profile right now. And we're going to get a little reading here and show you how to actually profile the system right quick. Right now, there's a 0.9 split between my two probes here, and we can change that up a little bit. But you'll see these things moving around here. Our air side here, we've got our return air dry bulb, return air wet bulb, our supplier dry bulb, and supplier wet bulb. Now that we're ready here, we're going to go ahead and profile the system. The thing about using our equipment, you're going to get very highly accurate readings. You're going to go off and you'll be able to analyze the system. But what we need to do is we need to tell our system, you need to tell your iConnect what you're working on. It's very simple. A profile of a system is simply the refrigerant, the configuration, whether it's an AC, a heat pump, low temp. It's going to be the metering device and the efficiency of the condenser. So to put in a profile, we're going to go ahead and go to our bar menu, open up our bar menu, and you can see equipment profile in here. Now, equipment profile is the most important thing that you can really do to work on your system here. So we open up equipment profiling. You know, on your application, you'll see a list of these things that are already present. They're built into the application, but most all of them, actually all of them, are going to be straight cool systems. I come from the land of heat pumps out here, and there's no heat pumps profiled, so I go ahead and I profile my heat pump, and you can do your custom profiling and save it. So in all actuality, you're going to run into maybe 8 to 10 profiles during the course of what you do. So it's actually really easy to program in a profile, save it. When you come across these, just like if it's a 14 SEER, we'll use an example of 14 SEER heat pump, R410A with a standard TXV. Profile this thing up, we're all set. After we're done with the profile, we just put in our tonnage. That way we can measure our airflow. So we're going to do a profile right now. And we're going to profile a new system just so you can see, because we've got 10 SEER AC R22 with a fixed orifice. We're going to do a very high SEER heat pump right now and show you how to keep it into your system and go back to that profile. So we're going to select profile new system.
And Eric, just to remind you, you've got a few minutes left.
Okay.
You're on a good roll.
We're going to go through this program right here. That way we can get started with this. So our refrigerant, we're going to select our refrigerant. If it's different from 410A, you just tap the refrigerant bar and you've got pretty much every refrigerant out there that's in use. Ammonia is not going to be out there. That's you have to have stainless steel equipment for that. And CO2 is not in there. That's ultra high pressure, but that'd be a whole other tool. So now we're going to go ahead and select 410A.
Actually, Eric, we are, just for people that know, we are looking at both CO2 as well as an ammonia cycle.
Yeah,
but
that's what I mean. There'd be a whole different tool though.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be all stainless steel. So,
you bet. Yeah.
So now we're gonna put our configuration as a heat pump. You can select the mode, whether it's going to be in cooling or heating. We're going to be in cooling. The metering device, standard TXV. If it's electronic, select it. Fixed orifice, select it there. Benchmarking, that's for another class. Don't use that yet. Benchmarking is going to, you're going to develop a system that's running perfectly. If you've got a series of them, you're going to benchmark the measurements, and that'll give you a reference point for future. This system that we're going to do right now is an ultra high efficiency, an 18 to 22 SEER. So we'll select that. Head pressure controls, we don't need to look at that either on this. Evaporator type, standard operation. When you run into high sensible capacity or high latent capacity, the high sensible is more on the, when you get an ultra high capacity or ultra high SEER condenser, where you're going to use a 3-ton condenser with a 5-ton coil. That's when you're going to select your evaporator type to be high sensible capacity. So if you run into that situation, use it. If not, 99% of the time you're going to use standard operation. The way they're doing it up now, they're matching them. Our superheat subcooling. These are targets, okay? These are variables that can be changed depending upon the configuration of the system. Sometimes it will calculate your superheat, your subcooling target, use it off the manufacturer suggested, off the nameplate. There's designed subcoolings. You're going to enter that in right there. Nominal tonnage here, that is entered in our measurements. If you put it right here, it's not going to save it anyway. So we're just going to go ahead and create this quick profile. So we select create quick profile, and we're going to submit it. This is just a verification that we're making a quick profile. Yes. Now we can name this. You can name it yourself. It probably, I think it's about 10 or 12 characters that you can use, or you can auto name. I'm just going to use an auto name and select it. So now it gives us an automatic naming here with 18 to 22 SEER, heat pump, and cooling mode with a TXV. Now with all of our measurements that we're taking right now, you see when we profile the system, we have targets here. These little tic tacs are where you need to be on your pressure. We scroll across here on our targets. We're looking at a target of 115 on our suction pressure, 270 on our head pressure, and we didn't change up anything on our superheater or subcooling, so we got a 12 and 10. That's what you need right there just to get going right off the bat. Very simple. If we were to get out of our application and do a complete startup up here, we just go through this right quick. So we're going to go ahead and shut down. I'm shutting off my iManifold, my iConnect here. All my probes are off now. We're going to go up to a new system just to show you how quick and easy this is. iManifold, open it up. I'm going to turn on all my manifold, my probes.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Once you've done all the work that you just went through, you
don't have to do it again.
Turn it on. Yeah.
So we've got everything turned on now. I'm going to go ahead and go up to my upper right-hand corner, my gear menu, connect to my iManifold. A20608 was mine, and we're already connected. So we're set to go. Everything's pulling. Now what I'm going to do here is enter in my profile. Here's my 18 SEER heat pump. Equipment profiling. I take a look down here at the bottom here, 18 to 22 SEER heat pump and cooling 410A. I created that. I select it. My profile's in there.
Yep.
And we're set to go. Now I can put in demo data here just so you can see something here.
And Eric, while you're doing that, let everybody know our next virtual training sessions for this month. We have one on Thursday, November 16th on how to make money and save time with your iManifold system. And one on Wednesday, November 22nd on the capabilities of the cloud. So
Yep.
make sure you sign up and join us for those if you possibly can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both of those are going to be based around cloud subscriptions.
Yeah.
The capabilities of it, there's some incredible capabilities that you get using cloud. Really expands your system, expands what you can offer your customer, puts you at the next level.
Yep.
And I'm going to go
yes,
ahead and throw
Eric,
this
it's
in here.
really snowing here now.
I'm going to throw this in here real quick. If you take a look on our website, there's a new product on our website. And there are new magnetic sleeves here. So when you're, let me kill my screen here. This is really cool. You're going to love this. Now, normally we've got our little magnets here to put these into our ductwork, okay? Well, what we came up with here, I did this in my garage of all places. You don't have to put these, stick them into the ductwork. There's no sense in really drilling a lot of holes. You can use your supply and return registers. Now, 90% of the United States has got steel registers. These little magnets come in handy, but they don't really do anything for you unless you're drilling holes and poking them in. So now we have a magnetic sleeve here that goes around the probe itself. Really simple, slides over. And we've got three really, really strong neodymium magnets in here. So when you put these up, you can always put them onto the face of the register, pop it right on there, make sure your tip's in the airflow, And something else to just remember, I'm trying to emphasize this all the time. The sensing tip is on the battery cover side. Make sure you're getting airflow over this tip here on the battery cover side. Very important. There's your sensor.
Nice.
These little sleeves enable you to turn the probe around, put it up however you want. Really easy to configure that. And you can also use this to hold your flashlight.
Nice.
They are available on our website now. So perfect.
Well, thank you.
Thanks,
Eric.
everybody.
Nice
I
job.
see Clyde's on here. Clyde, my buddy Clyde, DJ,
All right.
others.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ralph, for joining us. Even though you were a little late, we do have it recorded if you need it, so let me know. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.